Hope you're all good. This is another Graviflyer Thoughts and Observations, video number 7. Believe it or not, because we're going to be looking at Bushman and Searl and Roshchin and Godin and all sorts of magnetic things, but it ties into the Graviflyer. That lower negatively charged disc with the magnets on it is so intriguing. It's one thing that just really captivated my interest with this, and realizing the eddy currents it sets up in the middle disc, and there's just so much going on there. But I really wanted to look at rotating magnets and just confining magnets and doing interesting things with them. So this, of course, is the most awesome Bushman patent on the magnetic beam apparatus. But I think the patent just scratches the surface of what this device can actually do. I'm checking out this diagram specifically because it has a coil wrapped around this magnet, which is asymmetric from this other setup. So everyone is south pole facing in on this system here. You can set it up north pole facing in as well. You get different results, different reactions and things. And so we're working on a base unit here. Just thanks Ace Hardware. You can get great plastic hardware in your toilet bowl, the toilet section of the Ace Hardware. So really cool stuff. You can cut these up and do all sorts of nifty things. So we've got, right now it's set up north pole facing in on this guy. Used bamboo here to capture them in. And so we've got stacks of magnets in there. These are ring magnets here. Eventually this would be another tower with the same style of magnets. And these are just, your store-bought neodymium magnets. You can go nuts and get something much, much stronger. This thing has shown incredible amplification, and I'll post a video of me pointing this at a crappy oscilloscope, and you can see it go nuts on the so-called electron beam that you're looking at there. Ties it up into a 4-leaf clover. How many fields in a magnet? All right, we'll look at that a little bit as well. So there it is. And more specifically, I'm interested in different coil forms going over this magnet here, right? And then, of course, depending on how you've wound this, you can get north pole or south pole. And I'll post another video of this guy here, of pulsing it with the very same device that we're utilizing for our high voltage production, and got this pointed at a compass and does all sorts of interesting stuff. And notice when it gets into its resonant mode and beyond, you can actually see that the compass itself starts to twist a little bit, almost like it's twisting the field dependent upon the frequency that this is being driven at. And we've got another coil like this guy here. So all these are made to interface with this in various ways and see what sort of results you can get out of it. And this kind of fits in here like this. This gets some interesting pumping action. We'll do another video with that. And then, of course, as per the patent, this guy goes here, and we'll make something much tighter that interfaces nicely. So just a prelim sort of thing. How does this tie into the Graviflyer? It's because I also want to rotate this at some point, but it also looks very much like Mike Gamble's Tesla drive in the Study of Gravity Part 2, right? This looks very much like that. Monopole magnet and what looks to be a coil going around the outside. Check out the Study of Gravity from Mike Gamble. I think he's on to something there. Let me just turn on the lights for just a second here. that. No, I want to show you guys the continuation of the Boyd Bushman patent, which was brought to us by this gentleman here. I'll completely butcher his name, but Alexandre Tiago Baptista del Aves Martins. If anybody knows about this guy, he's incredible. But you can see that this is very much a continuation of the Boyd Bushman patent. And in this patent, he refers specifically to Boyd and says that this device most definitely can be used for so-called anti-gravitation, right? This patent it basically applies fluid dynamics to explaining electromagnetism and gravitation and all that good stuff, whatever that is. All right, let me turn off the light. Shut this down for just a second. Turn this on and show you this trippy field coming off this thing. It's almost square. I think that's just very intriguing. And then, yeah, we'll post another video of me pulsing it with one of these coils wrapped around it, like this guy. You know, it doesn't do anything crazy, but I can see the corners pulsating with the timing of that's being, you know, that's driving this coil here. So my feeling is that the field is changing in this direction, like coming straight at me, right, straight out of the page, so that I can't really, so that is just a trip. And again, these are just straight up, you know, store-bought neodymium. We can go crazy with this. All right, so showed you the field. I mean, you know, this brings us to this, again, this great book and this concept of, you know, what's happening with our lower disk. Does it actually, you know, in rotation, throw a field out? What else we got in here? And there's your classic picture there. Whether the magnets are attached to the disk or held stationary, you get the same effect, which is, I suppose, what they're calling the paradox, right? The other interesting thing about this book is that a lot of it's based on actually, right here. So test for voltage generation in the rotating reference frame. And so they actually like put a voltmeter here and found that when you're on the frame of reference and you're rotating with it, no voltage is generated, nothing's happening. It's only when you're, you know, on the outside of the thing. That's really intriguing. All right, let's look at another excellent book. I've shown you guys this book once already. If you can get your hands on one of these, this is great. This old school stuff. You can see it's coming apart. I've looked at it so many times. I mean, you know, everything's in here. And you know, it was from the 70s. So yeah, there's a picture of the Townsend Brown and what they feel like the impulse on the ether, direction of thrust, right? Ether vortex turbine. So this is all about Searl and this Searl effect. Very intriguing right here. The energy of the orgone, right? There's Wilhelm Reich's name, right? He's brought up in Baptista's patent. Right? There's something very particular about Wilhelm Reich and the combination of materials. I mean, if you really look at the Reich orgone accumulator, what are you looking at? A capacitor, a multi-plate capacitor, and it's asymmetrical because, right, it's a piece of steel with an insulator, something natural like wool, and then steel, and then insulator, and then steel, and insulator, right? So you go, it's asymmetry. It's getting smaller and smaller. I don't know if you guys checked out this book, but this is cool too. This has got so much in it. Of definite interest is this section here on the Searl effect, and right, there's some great stuff in here, and some very intriguing. Right, so this is from the old Barrett report, apparently, on the Searl effect. There's our recoiled ether. Yeah, this is another great book, and in particular, the mech generator from the Russians, and then the Faraday disk dynamo effect, right? So right here is your classic Faraday disk generator. Very much intriguing. There's something else going on in the lower section of the Graviflyer with its magnets attached to a disc rotating around. There's also this very intriguing section here on the ball bearing effect. So, great book. And the other intriguing thing that I came across, a women's clothing store, believe it or not, sitting on the floor was 3 of these. These are classic. The Odell's New Electric Library. My God, this thing is. Let's check out the publication date. Copyright 1929, 1938, and this looks like a reprint from 1942. What's so crazy about that? It's the way they talk about electricity. The ether is still described in this book, and it's 1942, right? Interesting here. Electricity is sometimes classified according to its motion. Static electricity, or electricity at rest. Current electricity, or electricity in motion. You see? Magnetism, or electricity in rotation. Radio electricity, or electricity in vibration, radiation. And then this very intriguing little diagram right here. What's it say? Strains in the ether. And this is very intriguing too. If you look at it, it's like you're sitting on the earth or electrostatic field about an aerial. But look at this, strains in the ether. You notice, all right, here's our potential. And here's our magnetic strain. I mean, there's nothing else in this diagram. There's a reason for that, right? We'll check out dielectricity in another video. All right. I think that might be enough. So yeah, we're in the weeds here a little bit. We're off on a little tangent, but I think they all kind of relate to each other in some strange way. Okay, we're going to stop right there. Thanks for watching.